When you walk past a timber-framed building that has stood for centuries, it's easy to admire the architecture and craftsmanship without thinking about what really kept that structure standing. Wood rots, insects infest it, and environmental exposure destroys it faster than war ever could. Yet, somehow, medieval builders created planks that endured for hundreds of years. The secret was not some magical varnish or secret formula. It was a deceptively simple but ingenious process known as the wood-soaking pit. Today, we're going to dive into how medieval craftsmen transformed ordinary timber into near-immortal planks, and why understanding this technique can still offer lessons for builders, survivalists and history enthusiasts today. Why soaking wood changed everything for medieval builders. Wood is an organic material, and left untreated, it succumbs to fungi, mold, and insect attack. Medieval builders discovered that soaking freshly cut timber in water for extended periods, sometimes months or even years, altered its structure in ways that dramatically increased durability. By submerging planks in pits, streams, or specially dug tanks, the wood absorbed water gradually. This sounds counterintuitive, but, controlled saturation removes sugars and soluble compounds that attract decay-causing organisms. Waterlogged wood also underwent a natural chemical transformation. Tannins and other compounds became more stable, giving the timber enhanced resistance to rot. What made this approach revolutionary was that it relied on patience and an understanding of natural processes rather than chemicals or technology. Builders didn't need arsenic or creosote. They relied on water, time, and careful selection of timber species. Oak was preferred for its natural tannins, while pine and fir were also used after prolonged soaking. How the soaking pits were constructed and maintained. The pits themselves were often simple but required thoughtful planning. Typically dug into damp ground near a stream, they were lined with clay, stone, or wooden planks to prevent the soil from collapsing. Timber was placed carefully inside, sometimes stacked with spacers to ensure water could circulate around each plank evenly. The pits were filled with water, which was occasionally refreshed to prevent stagnation, and left undisturbed for months. In some cases, builders monitored the water level and even added certain minerals to enhance preservation, though most of the effect came from consistent soaking and the natural tannins in the wood. For anyone seeking to replicate this method today, a small-scale version could involve a waterproof pit or container fresh water and periodic observation. The goal is slow, even saturation without exposing the wood to contamination or rapid drying, which can crack and weaken it. Why soaking increased longevity beyond chemical treatments? One of the remarkable aspects of water-soaked timber is that it resists not just rot, but warping and splitting. The slow absorption process allows the wood fibres to expand uniformly. When the timber is eventually removed and dried gradually, it retains its shape far better than untreated or kiln-dried wood. This is why medieval structures, from bridges to cathedrals, often still have original planks intact after hundreds of years. In a world without synthetic preservatives, soaking was both the cheapest and most effective way to create long-lasting building materials. In practical modern applications, soaking can still be useful for timber intended for outdoor structures, small boats, or even furniture. While chemical treatments are widely available, nothing beats the low-cost, low-impact method of controlled water soaking, combined with proper drying. How medieval builders applied soaked wood in construction. Once the planks were ready, they became the backbone of medieval construction. Builders used them for floorboards, roofing supports and framework in timber-framed houses. Because soaked wood resists shrinkage, mortise and tenon joints fit more tightly, creating structures that could survive heavy snow, wind and, centuries of use. In shipbuilding, water-soaked planks were especially valuable since they were less likely to warp when exposed to rain and river or seawater. The same principle underpinned defensive constructions. Gates, palisades and bridges lasted far longer, giving medieval towns and fortifications a strategic advantage over rivals who relied on untreated timber. For those experimenting with natural building today, the lesson is clear. Treat your wood with care and time. Soaking provides not only durability but stability, which reduces the need for constant maintenance or replacement, a key consideration for off-grid cabins, rustic furniture, or, historical recreations. So, what can we actually learn from medieval timber preservation today? Well, the medieval wood-soaking pit is honestly more than just a historical curiosity. It's really a practical blueprint for sustainable building. You see, modern timber often comes pre-treated with chemicals, and those can be harmful to the environment, and, frankly, sometimes a bit short-lived in extreme conditions. By understanding the medieval approach, we actually gain insight into low-impact methods that enhance wood longevity, without having to rely on modern preservatives. For survivalists, builders and history buffs, the principles are actually quite simple. Select the right wood species, allow time for natural treatment, and, respect the slow chemical processes that give timber its strength. Medieval builders may not have had the technology we take for granted, but they understood the natural world better than we often credit. Their methods really prove that longevity comes from patience, observation, and smart use of materials. And for anyone curious about historical building techniques or looking to create structures that last, the wood-soaking pit remains a fascinating and practical solution. If you've enjoyed uncovering the secrets of medieval timber preservation, do subscribe to the channel and share this video. Bringing these forgotten techniques to life ensures that knowledge, like the wood itself, endures for generations.